Yo, actually making a video today. I'm gonna do Final Faction vehicles from worst to best. Starting off with the Nomads and the Wanderer. See, the problem with this thing is it's clunky and it doesn't really do enough damage. It has a lot of ammo, but that doesn't really excuse it from being clunky and pretty bad. Plus the charge up is pretty awful as well. And it's not very fast as well, that's another thing. If it had a booster, it might be a bit better. Seeing as it's not the fastest, I put it at last place. And next up, we have the Engineers. And their vehicle is the Armadillo. This thing's slightly better. I think it's a little bit slower, but yeah, it's also pretty bad. I just prefer it better because of the range of the weapon. To be honest, that's about it. The damage isn't exactly spectacular. Pretty slow. Alright. 6th spot is taken by the Steppenwolves and the Schism. Now this thing, my problem with this thing is it has cannons and it has range, but its speed is terrible and the reload time is really long. Along with limited ammo, makes it a pretty bad vehicle for a top tier. Yeah, the range is good though. The range is quite impressive if you can aim it properly. Yeah, the range is really good, but other than that, I do not like this vehicle. Now, next up is the Scavengers and the Rock. Now, this one isn't terrible. It does have homing missiles, which does give it an edge over the other ones. And while it is extremely clunky and the maneuverability is awful, it's still not terrible overall. But you have to be somewhat far away to actually hit anything. That's the only issue. But other than that, it's not terrible. But it's still not good. Next up is the Founders and the Queen. This is where they start getting pretty decent, right? Because it has infinite ammo. And the reload is extremely fast. But not only that, you can actually charge it up as well. And it does a good amount of damage. It's also not exactly the fastest vehicle, but it's pretty decent in speed compared to the other ones. It's not exactly the most maneuverable, but it's still pretty decent considering. Also, there's two different types of moving. There's the, I don't know, I guess what is this, a dog walk, and then there's the wheels. So yeah, that's pretty decent. Next up is the Lunatics with the Beast. I like the Beast because it's pretty quick once you speed it up a little bit, and it tears enemies apart very quickly. It might take a little while to actually do enough damage to destroy it, but it definitely takes out their armor very fast. And that's the advantage to this vehicle. Plus it has shooting as well, so that's a plus. Next up is the Dawn's Children and the Pluto 15, which has a cloak, and that's good, but it also has a crap ton of bombs, which makes it very good, especially since there's not really any reloading that you actually have to do, which makes it a plus. Plus the knockback is insane as well. And if you aim it correctly, it's good. Plus its maneuverability is insane. Very maneuverable compared to the other ones. And the last one is the fire starters with the Ifrit. Now, the Ifrit has both boosters and flamethrowers, and the flamethrowers can take out enemies very quickly. It's a very good vehicle, solid pick for the final class if you're going for it. On top of its very good speed stat with the rocket boosters. And it can do a considerable amount of ramming damage as well, so that lands at the top spot. And yeah,